Hey Kimberly, it's Tuesday, and rather than shoot another 3 for 3 video, I thought we'd try something new. I want to talk about this book, I Love You Because You're You by Liza Baker. I found it on our trip to Ohio when we went to go visit Aunt Bean and read it to our little Bean. It reminded me of that talk by Sherazad Shamin, the one that we watched before we moved from Utah. Man, that one was really hard to find. I spent over an hour last night looking for it. It had some great content in it, but it only had like 48,000 views. Sherazad talks mostly about what he calls saboteurs and sages. Saboteurs are basically negative self-talk, while sages are the abilities that you develop to overcome challenges. It's amazing the similarities between Sherazad's saboteurs and sages and Julia Cameron's positive affirmations and negative beliefs, and then Jonathan Haidt's negative and positive affective styles. So Sherazad believes that saboteurs are the effect of traumas that we encounter when we are in our formidable years. They're a type of coping mechanism that we develop in order to rationalize the reality of the world around us against our ideals of the way we believe the world should be. For example, Sherazad said in his talk that his saboteur was the result of him growing up with an abusive father and a terrified mother. Since his parents were supposed to be a source of protection and comfort, he had to develop these mental tools in order to justify the reality of the situation he was living in. We need to reread The Anatomy of Peace. It's a really good book about self-deception and self-justification. Isn't psychology fascinating? Anyways, back to the book. Oh, did I mention it's a children's book? Yeah, totally a children's book. Board pages and everything. Like I said, the book. This is an amazing book to read to the littles. I love how Liza Baker covers not only the situations where it's really easy to love your child, but also the situations where they're basically terrorizing you. Of course, when they're terrorizing us, it's not that we don't show them love or that we don't love them. It's just that we have to be really careful about how we react. It's like how Foster Cline was saying in Love and Logic, that you have an implicit message and an explicit message every time that you're interacting with your kids. So when Michaela's throwing a fit, we have to be really careful about how we react to her so that our implicit messaging aligns with our explicit messaging, which is we love you no matter what. It's just a good reminder to me to remember to control my reactions. Because like Foster Cline said in Love and Logic, you have an explicit message and an implicit message, and the implicit message is really powerful. So how do I tie all of this back to the video? The one thing that I did remember from Sherazad's video was like the last couple of minutes. It was why it was so hard for me to find it on YouTube. You know, when he's talking about the tickling ritual that he has with his son. So he plays this game with his son where he tickles him while he lists off all of his great qualities. You know, like, why do I love you so much? Is it because you're great at sports or because you're a good student? And eventually, when his son is done with all the tickling and has heard enough positive praise, he says, "No, Daddy, you love me so much because I'm me." And I thought that was amazing. So of course I copied it and I started doing that with our littles. Of course, Bean is all about getting to the point. So when I ask her, "Why do I love you so much?" she immediately responds with, "Because I'm me, 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 me." So yeah, implicit and explicit messages are really important. And hopefully as we work on both, we'll minimize the volume of the saboteurs and increase the volume of the sages. Sherazad wrote a book too, and when I get it from Amazon, we'll have to put it on the stack. Big stack. Big stack. Oh, and big thanks to our friend Scott, who told us all about Sherazad's talk. Funny how that was in response to a comment on Facebook about Michaela comforting you when you were feeling bad about the fireworks last year. Huh. Everyone has something to teach you, right? So a couple of questions before I go. 1. Do you think unconditional love only applies between a parent and a child? And then 2, when do you think that we as parents are no longer responsible for influencing the saboteurs and sages in our children? Well, that's enough for now, Kimberly. I look forward to hearing your thoughts on Thursday.